The Daily Mail published some paparazzi pictures of what seems to be Meghan going out that Indianapolis event. Well, we don't know exactly how it went, but we can tell by Meghan's body language that maybe it was... it went not that well for her. Welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. And from the series of pictures, I think one of the most telling is this one. We have a couple tells in here of what was Meghan's state or emotions at that moment. I'm going to point out the not so obvious first. It could be the tension in her jaw. Let me get this size a bit. Okay. See the tension of her jaw muscle right here. There's this little curve. I'm gonna put this little curve in here. You can see that curve, that tension in her jaw, because she is speaking at that moment. She's talking. She is telling of someone about something, because you can see that her mouth is not static. It's moving. In fact, the lips are really tense at that moment. It's like this gesture of contraction, and we can't say that she was yelling because her jaw was not open. You need to open your mouth to yell, but she was being quite harsh at that moment. We can tell from the tension of the jaw and lips, and at the same time there's this, even from the bad resolution or the low resolution of the picture, you can tell that her forehead is contracted in a way. I'm going to try to paint here the arch of the eyebrows and the tension of the forehead muscle. She's doing this. She's doing this tension, and you know that means that, well, she or anybody that displays that tension is angry at that moment. Most probably when you saw this picture the first time or first sight, you had the exact same feeling that, well, she was scolding. Yeah, that is the word. Sorry about that. Scolding someone, especially because she had her eyes fixed in whoever was in front of her, and she was doing this. Okay, on one hand, pun intended, her hand is not that tense. I'm going to try to draw the fingers here. I think this is the thumb, this is the middle finger, this is the ring, and the pinky. Here's the index. Okay, she's pointing her index fingers, a very aggressive gesture. And well, and most of the time, if not all the time, it can be a bit of intimidating if someone is pointing at you directly, because she is looking and pointing exactly in the same direction. If you are telling someone to do something, for example, I'm going to change the camera here. If you're telling someone, hey, you should do that thing over there, and you're talking to them, but you're pointing in a different direction of your face, because you're trying to orient your face to the person you're talking to, and you're pointing somewhere else because you're telling them to do something, and you're pointing somewhere else. That will be logical, right? But in this case, I see that she's pointed almost in the same direction. I can't tell for sure, because the angle of the camera is quite flat. It's like 90 degrees in terms of the hand and the eyes. But if I had to place my bets, I'd say that it's exactly the same orientation. Her head, her eyes, and the index finger are pointed in the same direction. So whoever she was talking to at that moment, my opinion is that she was also pointing her index finger at that person. So she was really upset. She was pointing her index finger. She had this contraction on her face. So it was not a good time for whoever was receiving those words. Whoever was on the receiving end of those words. Even even if the hand was, well, not that relaxed, not that tense, but it's an intimidating gesture nevertheless. Let's take a look at the other pictures. This is the kind of pictures that we have to be very careful. This could be just a unusual transition pic that someone took, that the paparazzi took in this case, which doesn't give us enough information. The only thing that we can just say at the picture as is, without judging anything about the picture, is that, well, her body is facing in one direction. Okay, her body is facing this direction, and her face, her head is looking away from that direction. We don't know if she was talking to the person who was behind her or something. We can't tell that from that picture. My best guess is that this is a transition from one stance, she doing something, to another stance, maybe walking away from that person or anything. So this is the kind of pictures that we should not take much into account, or not weight too much into our analysis. Now this is a different one. This is not a transition. She's actually pointing her eyes, looking at someone in particular. We can't see who that person is. Again, okay, we can have an idea. I'm gonna spoil this a bit, because I have this last picture, that is the last picture that we're gonna analyze, and we see that she is in this position, and we see this gentleman behind her, and this picture, it's like they are about to cross, okay? So it's like she is in this moment, then goes for this one. The gentleman is about to go behind her, is what happens here. So we can guess that before this picture, this confrontation that we are about to analyze, this happened. It's like she was looking to this side or forward, and then began to turn around, and this happened. The relevant part of this picture is the tension on the neck. You see that there's a lot of tension, not only because of this line. I'm going to paint it with white, will be much better. We're painting it in white. This line here, you can see the stark shadow and the contrast. There is a tension on the neck, and especially because you are seeing that Meghan's body is almost, it's up front to the camera. It's up front to us. But her head is almost doing this. I'm gonna face away from the microphone, but it's doing this. It's rather uncomfortable, unless you're taking into account the tension of the neck. So she's already tense. She's doing that. She looks maybe a bit menacing. I'm not seeing her eyebrows at a natural level. I don't know what you think about this, but I don't think this is the natural level of her eyebrows. Her eyebrows are like a bit tense. Her eyes are a bit more open than normal. Is this? I see her eyes a bit more open than normal. So that's why this picture could look a bit threatening. Okay, it's a bit intimidating. I'm going to go back all these lines just to look at the picture as is. And you can see that there's that tension in her expression. I can't say there's not the same tension in the jaw that we saw here, because here you can see the shadow of her jaw muscle. But in here you cannot see that yet. Maybe the lighting, the same lighting that allows us to see this tension should allow us to see any tension here if that was the case. But there was no tension on the jaw yet. Or at least at that moment, there was no tension. So we move forward to the next one. And the problem that we have is also that we don't have the right order of these pictures. But we see two things here. The same subtle raising of the eyebrows, not in a friendly way, because we don't see any wrinkles in the forehead, And I'm sure that Meghan it goes easy with the Botox. She knows that she needs that expression to connect with people. I'm sure that her acting background taught her that she needs those expressions to be able to, at any point, be able to connect with people with her facial expressions. So Botox, limiting those facial expressions, can be detrimental to that connection. So I'm pretty sure that she's aware of that. But I see that tension this time on her mouth. Look at her lips are quite tense. It's not that hard to spot. Lips are tense, her eyes too, and her neck at the same time. There's a bit of tension there. Like she is about to react in some way. This is what I see in this picture. Maybe if we should need to put it this one, and we have this order. This one first, then this one, then this one. And when she already is, well, locked onto her target. And her target, I guess, was this woman that is directly talking to her. And from Meghan, the only thing that we can see is her finger. Let me see if I can. All right. Okay, I can hide this too. So this is the complete picture. You can have an idea of the distance between them. I'm going to draw them, paint them here. Okay, let me do this. This is the distance between them. Here is the woman she's talking to, right here, and here is Meghan. Let me see, that will be like, I don't know, like 3 meters, like 10 feet, a bit more, maybe, yeah, like I think like 3 or 4 meters, like 10 or 15 feet. I'm sorry if I cannot translate those distances correctly, but they're not that close from one another. I made this composition so it will be easier to look at their facial expressions. And you can see that the woman has her mouth open. Okay, maybe she, let me add another layer. Maybe she's not expecting whatever Meghan is telling about her, and her eyebrows are raised in some kind of disbelief. I'm sorry that this is the best resolution we have of this picture. I don't trust my scaler because there's so few information, so few pixel information in here that I think they could be throwing false data on their expressions. And in the case of Meghan, we have again the repeated opening of the eyes. We see certain tension on her jaw. At the same time, Meghan is a woman that is very tense. I've said this many times. It's like Prince William is also a very tense man, and at times you can see that they both tense their jaw in certain moments. So it might be part of her body language baseline, but she doesn't do that all the time. It's a bit different with Prince William, since William sometimes he is just like, he looks like at ease, his body is relaxed, but he is trying to like blow off some steam, tensing his jaw. So it's a different scenario. Meghan doesn't do that all the time, but here she is doing it. And at the same time, we can see that tension of the neck. Sadly, we cannot see her hand. We can just make out her thumb right here. So she's using her hands. She's using her hands to reaffirm her discourse, her argument, whatever she's saying. She's using this illustrator gestures. So she's trying to emphasize. And we see at the same time that her head is quite forward, and well, her chin is a bit low. Notice that it is not level with the horizon. It's a bit low. So she was a bit defensive at that moment. I'm expecting that the person, this woman, is gonna answer something I don't want to listen to that answer. I'm resisting any counterattack from this point. So what we got here is quite a few signals that Meghan was upset right out of that event. Maybe something did not go according to the plan. Maybe it did not have the impact that she wanted, but, well, this is the result. My body language buddies, my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. And remember to download my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. Much love and bliss.